software testing, where we have seen what is software testing, the importance of software testing. Like we go for testing of software to detect whether our software is bug free, like if there is not error or there, or the for evaluating the quality of the software. So okay, and we also find out that what are the types of software testings are there. So we have found there are like actually three are considered, but mainly we considered two only, that is the functional and non-functional testing. So we started, like we have seen what were the names of the functional and the non-functional testing. So we'll look at this functional testing, types of functional testing today. So let me share the slide and then start the class. Okay. Mm. Okay. Okay. So in yesterday's class, we have already seen about unit testing, but we have not seen the benefits of it. So let me just revise a bit, and then I'll start with the benefits of it. So unit testing, as we know, we will keep on checking the software component by component or unit by unit. Okay, we'll check each unit separately. So that our system is able to detect the error at the very early stage. Okay, so generally, I gave you an example. When we write a C program, also we keep on checking our code, right? Separate codes. That we took an example. I took an example of the linked list program. So separate like linked list consists of separate parts, like individual units. You can think of creating one node, then inserting into the node, then deleting into the node. So instead, like of writing the entire program and checking like whether there is an error or not, because it becomes difficult, right? Let's what do is, first we have created, suppose we have written a program for creating a node in the linked list. Okay, then we like to check, we go for compilation, and then we run the program whether it's working correctly or not. Then what we do, we go for inserting into the node. Okay, then we again go for testing whether our logic is working properly or not. Okay, then again later we go for deleting or whatever, like inserting one node at the end, one node at the beginning or in the middle. So that kind of testing. So this unit by unit testing, right? Like one by one, step by step testing is known as the unit testing. Okay, now let's see what are the benefits of unit testing. So whatever, like first is written that unit testing increases confidence in changing or maintaining code. Okay, so why does it increases the confidence? So since you, like when we change the code, when we apply a new logic, since we test the code, since we already test the code, right? So we run the code and check whether it's working properly or not. So obviously it gives a confidence to us that yeah, it is working, the software is working perfectly fine, this part of the code is correct. Next, codes become more usable. So reusable in the sense, right? So when we go for any like development of any software product, what we do, we like I told you, every product is developed into, divided into separate modules, that is separate units. Okay, and like one unit is developed by me, another unit is developed by some other of like some other people. So what we do, we go for the integration of it, right? But in the separate modules, we like each unit. Suppose I have some function module that can be used in other project also, because suppose we have for registration we have one module, for login we have one module. Okay, so this registration and login module, though it is created by me, because many other like application or many other software will also include this kind of modules, right? So similarly, if I have already developed a module for registration and login module in my in this project. So in the next project, while that project will also require the same module, instead of like going for developing the entire module again, why don't we just reuse these two modules, registration and logging, same thing. every login and registration module will consist of the information of the user, right? They will be asked to enter their email, they will be asked to enter their first name, last name, then phone number, then the password they want. So and in the login what they will have, the username and the password, these two modules will be same thing. So why to create it again? We can reuse it in the next project. Okay. So also when you go for this unit testing, uh, development is faster. Why? Because in unit testing what happens, you can like quite easily detect the bugs in at a very early stage, right? They like because before, if you go like you have developed the entire software, then you go for the testing, it will like require a lot of efforts. But when you go for unit testing, you know where your exactly your error lies, so you can just modify the error. Okay. Also, the cost of fixing a defect detected during like unit testing is lesser in comparison to that of defects detected at higher levels. Now I just said, so if you know like if you go for unit testing, we know in which part of our code the problem is, we can detect it earlier. So otherwise if we don't know, like we go for like at every type, like all the we have integrated the system and we don't know where our error lies, that will involve lot of cost. So I told you before also, whenever we go for software development, it will involve some amount of money, and some amount means that's a huge money. You can think in terms of lakhs, and sometimes it's a very big project, it can be in terms of crores too. So we should like able to, that is why unit testing is done. So because if you are able to detect the unit testing at a very early stage, like the bugs in the very early stage, in that case what happens is you are able to save the money. And also in unit testing, since you are going checking like phase by step manner, so debugging is easy. Just like I gave you an example of a linked list program. Whenever, leave about the linked list program, any program you write, like if you first, whatever first logic you have implemented, and then keep on debugging it, keep on compiling whether there is error or not, whether any syntax error, logical error, then you keep on debugging it, and then you write the entire program and check, you will find much like easier, the program will be completed faster, it will be like detect. Otherwise when you write the entire program, then you find an error, then it will be like really difficult to work with if the program is related with the other logics. Okay. These were the benefits of unit testing. Moving next, yesterday we also studied about the integration testing. So in the integration testing, so integration, the word means we need to integrate the modules, whatever separate modules we have in our unit testing. What we did, I told you, right, this registration is one module, login is one module, then and other separate modules. Suppose you have suppose let us take an example of the Facebook. Okay, Facebook application when it was developed. So first suppose it was registration one module, login one module, then the storing, the suppose you sending friend request, this storing your friends, it will contain the friends, can be the one module storing the information. So later where it was checked individually, okay, you can now send the friend request, your security is a one module. Later what it was done, it was integrated. Okay, to expose like whether when when we, because unit testing is done, it is working properly, each individual unit is working properly, like individually registration is working properly, individually login module is working properly, individual the security modules are working properly, individually face recognition is working properly. Now we need to check when we like join the system, when we integrate the system, whether it's able to work properly or not. Okay, so that falls under the integration testing. Now there are few approaches to integration testing. So first is, there are actually basically four approaches: the big bang approach, top down approach, bottom up approach, and hybrid approach. So first let us discuss about the big bang approach. So big bang approach is basically, here what happens, like all the unit separate units you have are combined, are integrated, and they are tested at one go. Whatever like units you receive, okay, from the separate teams, you will test it at one go. Okay, so that is why it is said that the team receives the units in a bundle. The testing team receives the separate units in a bundle. They will test it in one go. Now let's check what is the top down approach. In top down approach, what happens, the higher level, because in top down approach there will be the high level units will be there. Okay, the high level requirement specification, like you can, so not the requirement specification, like you have this one. Suppose you can, in Facebook you can think of the face recognition, and also suppose you can think of in messenger also we can send voice messages. Okay, and even we go for video calls. So these are the separate modules, and these are the high level requirements, right? Whether when we integrate together, they work together, like they work properly or not. Okay, if they are not like if they work properly, then we go for the like basic modules. Okay, then after the high level modules are working properly, they are error free. Can we like now add some small modules like the bottom modules, right? Whatever the modules will come, like chatting. Okay, now it's now chatting. If we integrate with this module, is it working properly? Now it's like uploading photograph. Is it working properly? Like it's now login and lastly it will check the, because the login and registration are the bottom modules, right? This will be if we integrate with the login and registration module, if they work properly or not. So this is known as the top-down approach, where the higher level modules are integrated and tested first, and if they work correctly, later in a step-by-step manner, we keep on integrating the bottom modules. Okay. In Big Bang, what we did in Big Bang, we whatever modules we received from the development team, we integrated it together and tested it in one go. Okay, but in bottom up, we tested the higher levels first, and later we integrated the bottom up with that, and then we have tested it. Okay, next comes the bottom up approach. So like the bottom up approach, what it did, like the top down approach, what it did, it first integrated the lower modules, right? Sorry, upper modules. Here, what in bottom up approach, it will integrate the lower modules, and then it in a step by step, it will like integrate the higher modules. Like let me take an example first. Login and registration module are integrated and tested first. If they works properly, then they need to check like whether uploading of the photographs are working properly or not. Okay, they will integrate the upload photograph, because that is one module. Okay, they will upload and they will check, okay, this working properly or not. Then they will check whether face recognition is working properly or not. So all these things they will integrate, like all the first, the very base bottom level, bottom up, like small units will be integrated, and then we will check it. Okay, then the higher level specifications will be done in a step by step approach. Now what does this hybrid or sandwich approach means? Okay, generally we use the word hybrid only. Hybrid, basically they will integrate the like it will be basically a combination of the top down and the bottom up approaches. Okay, they will combine the, or they can like take some big, sometimes they will combine two small modules, and sometimes they can take the like large modules, they will combine it together. Okay, next we have a system testing. So system testing, once your like system, like once your modules are integrated and it is working fine, so we go for the system testing to check whether, like to evaluate whether the system is working according to the requirement specified. Okay, so that is known as the system testing. Okay, so these are the tasks performed in the system testing. So we need to first create some test cases. Okay, we like we you know what is the test cases is something like we give them dummy variables, dummy cases, where we'll give wrong values. Suppose in the like let me give an example. In the registration form, suppose you have a registration form. Okay, so in the registration form, suppose you have name field and phone number field. Suppose let me take an email ID field is there. So in the name field, if you write, if you don't want to give your original name, or if you want to give enter any number also in a name place, in you just enter any number, whether it will work or not, because that is the validation you should check, right? Because the user have the tendency to put anything, right? They can put any number, so that should give an error, right? And you can check also if someone gives us a special characters, whether percentage and at the rate symbol, then hash symbol, dollar symbol, whether it should work or not, what error it should give. So they this is how they prepare the test cases. Similarly, for like I give a phone number. For phone number, how many digits it should accept? If someone gives 12 digits, it should accept or not. So all these things are, if someone gives less than 10 digits, what happens to them? Then what about in the email ID if the format is wrong? So this is how they prepare the test cases. Once they prepare, you need to review the test cases. Okay, whether like all kind of test cases have been included in the preparation part or not. If not, then we will rework it. Okay, we will rework on it, and after that we will go for baseline. Baseline is basically validation of those test cases. Then after this is what? After the test cases are prepared properly, this is done one of by the testing team, right? So this is done. That is preparation, review, rework, and baseline is done. That's okay. This it's working properly. These test cases, we can now go for the original checking. Then we'll check this kind of test cases to the system. If this pass, then we'll like prepare this plans. Again, same thing. Prepare, review, rework, and baseline. So this is how we go for system testing. So this a software, a good quality software, or needs to pass this system testing. That only they can go for like launching the software. Next is the interface testing. So this interface testing, we know what is the interface, right? Like it's a basically that serves as a middle layer between the backend and the front end. So we can, so because you have already studied operating system, so I hope you know what is an operating system, right? So operating system is basically nothing but an interface between the hardware and the computer, right? Similarly, so you can see whenever we have any application or any website, we have like some coding involved, right? The database is there, but we cannot directly deal with the database. What we have, a form. Okay, so a website, like where suppose if you go to the any shopping website also, so we see only the interfaces, we see only the images. Suppose if you add some click a picture, that means if you are that you want to buy some item, so you are putting these things in the cart, but what calculation is going on in the uh, database, we are not aware of it, right? So it's basically it verifies the communication between the system are done correctly. So whether you are communicating in the properly or not. See, these things are all software. This Amazon website, this Flipkart website are all software, right? So if someone clicks, so when it was developed, it was thought of, well thought of, whether it works correctly or not, whether it's able to communicate with the database efficiently or not, correctly or not, or in a wrong manner. So basically, there are three phases of interface testing. First is the configuration and development. So just word is there, configuration development. So when the interface is configured and once the development starts, the configuration needs to be verified as per the requirement. So whatever like you have the like once you have your interface is ready, you need to check whether the configurations matches with the requirement or not. Then obviously you go for the validation and verification part. Just now I gave you an example of the verification and validation where I told you separate test cases will be prepared, then you will need to check whether your test fields are working properly or not, phone number. So these are done in validation. Actually validation thing is done also in unit testing also. I told you this validation, the developer team only they do it, they check okay whether their code is working properly or not. So in that case they also go for this validation. So it is said it is done in the unit testing also. And last is the maintenance part. So maintenance when we have an interface developed, so we need to make sure when we change in the code, any defects is there in the code, because you know what happens in the maintenance phase, the clients are never satisfied, they keep do want to upgrade it, the system, right? They keep on upgrading with the technology. So when we introduce any new code to the system, whether it runs properly or not, whether or they interfere like with the interface, so that comes under the maintenance part. Next is the regression testing. So regression testing is said like it's crucial stage for the product, and it's very useful for the developers because it will identify the stability of the product with the changing requirement. Just now I mentioned this customer have very like demanding. These customers are very demanding, right? So what happens? They keep on changing their requirements. So when they keep on changing their requirements, the code will also change, right? They need to change the code, the developers need to change the code. So in such kind of thing, when changing the code, it may affect the existing code sometimes, the existing interface sometimes, right? The existing functionalities what you have, it may impact it. So you go for the regression testing to check the impact it has on changing the code of the system. Okay, that it should not like impact the other code of the system. That is why so that it does not impact it, that is why we go for modular programming. In modular programming, as you know, we develop in separate modules. So whenever you make a change in the code or in any module, only that part will be impacted, so we can test it and we can integrate it later together. Otherwise what happens, if you don't develop in a module wise manner, then what happens is, if one thing is changed, your entire program can be solved because all things will be impacted, right? That is why the company, the organization has shifted to modular programming. Okay, so check if there is any sign whether it's like working properly or not. When we introduce new codes to the functional new existing functionality, we go for the regression testing. Now there are four types of regression testing techniques too. So first is, we will retest all. So in the retest all part, what technique is that? We will re-execute all the test cases we have. We'll run the entire system to detect like if going for like introducing new code have added any problem to the functionality or not, okay, any change in the code or not. So we will find we'll like retest all, we'll test the entire system again, so it is re-executed. Next is regression test selection. So basically regression test selection, so selection is there. So here what we do, so we will only test few parts of the code, only the few parts, like few parts of the test code will be re-executed. It will not like the retest or where entire code was re-executed. In this case, only part of the code will be executed. So selection of test cases is done on the basis of code change in the module. Next is test case prioritization. So prioritization, so you know like test cases with high priority, so priority is mentioned, right? So we can know this meaning that test cases with higher priority will first be executed and compared to lower and the middle priority. Okay, so it's basically priority of test case, because we check in the priority basis, we know because the high priority things impact the software in a greater way, right? So that is why we test the priority, highest priority first, and then the middle, and then the low priority. And next is the hybrid. Like we studied about the hybrid. Hybrid means combination. So here last time we studied about it was a combination of the top down and the bottom up approach. Here also in hybrid we have a combination of the regression test selection and the test case prioritization. Okay, we will like choose based on only on the test cases which are re-executed on based on the high on their priority level. Okay, so this was all about the regression testing techniques. And the last type of technique for testing technique for functional testing is the user acceptance techniques. Now acceptance testing, so I told you, right, acceptance testing, like you have a first SRS develop document developed, you created a develop SRS, right? When you were going for the SDLC, all the planning and all things where the user requirements were mentioned. So after your system is ready and you have tested through all the regression testing, the most important one is the user acceptance testing. Why? Because it will basically evaluate whether the system will be acceptable by the customer when you deliver it. Okay, so whether it meets all the requirements and whether it will be whether it is ready for delivery. So that is the user acceptance testing. So there are various types of user acceptance testing. So I think there are four types I have mentioned here, or five. Yeah, five types I have mentioned. So here is the business acceptance testing. So also known as, it's the acronym for BAT. So it is basically, it will assess whether the product meets the business goal or not. Okay, business goal or purposes or not. It will mainly focus on the business um, benefits which are quite challenging due to the changing market conditions. Okay, so all the business requirement, what basically it will be more inclined towards the organization goals. Okay, next we have the contract acceptance testing. So basically this is a also it's an acronym for the CAT. It is basically a contract that specifies that once the product goes live within a predetermined period, the acceptance test must be performed and it should pass all the acceptance use cases. Okay, so use cases, you are already aware of it, means the functionalities. Whatever functionalities their customer demanded, it should pass all that. Whatever, like I told you, whenever some client and organization, they come in a deal, they sign a contract, right? They mention whatever the software requirements will be there, all the cost benefit analysis were there, and everything will be involved. So they must go through that all the specifications are met within a predetermined how much time they have asked for in that time period only. Next is operational acceptance testing. So basically, this is to accept the operational readiness, where how are, like when I take the system, whether it is ready or not, to how much time it will take to install and everything of the product, is go for the operational, the non-functional testing. So it includes basically recovery, compatibility, maintainability, technical support availability, reliability, failover, and localization. Next is alpha testing. So alpha testing is basically done to it assess the product in the development or the testing environment by specialized testers are there who will test your softwares, also known as the alpha testers. And next is the last one is a beta testing. So beta testing is basically done by the end users. Okay, when the product will be delivered to the customer, when the customer use it, these customers are known as the beta testers. So when the customer, they will use it and they will find any problem, they will give their feedback, this feedback to the organizations, right, the developing organization. So continuous feedback is collected from the users to and the issues are fixed. This is how the entire process of user acceptance testing is done. Okay, so this was all about functional testing. Next, we have non-functional, which I'm not going to discuss today. Any confusion till this part? See, we have lots of functional testing techniques are there. Yesterday, I've showed you, right? Smoke is there, others, but all are not so important. Just I have discussed a few. If you want to go on your own, you are free to study like these things, how these things happen. But I have just taken few of the things which are like mentioned in your syllabus. Yes, any confusion? So I'll not be sharing the slide today because I'll be taking the non-functional testing class on Friday, and then I'll be sharing the slide. Okay. Let me take the attendance for today. Okay. Thank you, everyone. You all can leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.